You're listening to Big Blend Radio, Champagne Sundays radio party. It's our 14th anniversary, and we've got Steve Schneiker sitting in with us as guest co-host, and you just heard I Am Los Angeles, and this is a track from the new music graphic novel by Mae-Edwards, and it is called I.M.L.A. Just type I.M.L.A. and you'll get it. And you can go to Mae-Edwards.com to learn more about it, get the music, get the graphic novels on YouTube. All the links are up there, so go there and get the album. It's awesome. Watch this whole this is like a whole immersive experience. It's awesome. Mae has been on our show over the years. I like to call her Mae West. It's happened over the time, so I'm not going to not do that. And as I was saying earlier, the first time she came on, I think it was with Starlet and Saint, a memoir on dualism, and she is a musician, a composer, multimedia mixologist. I love that title. Emmy award-winning video editor, and welcome back, Mae. How are you?
Oh, my goodness. How wonderful to be with you. I am fabulous.
So where are you now? Are you
happy
in
to
LA?
be with you, Mae. You're one of my favorite people on Facebook and your music. I love it. And I was so sorry about your dad's passing.
Oh, I'm hugging you. Thank you so much.
With you.
Thank
you.
You
bet.
Thank
you bet.
Thank you.
So where are you?
Oh, I'm physically in Sacramento.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Not that far from me.
Yeah.
I'm in San Jose.
Yes. Oh, come on, let's get to COVID.
Yeah,
let's get together after.
I know, Nancy and I've been saying that every time we want to come see you on our tour, and next year we're hoping to be up in your hood of trees and beauty and everything out in spring, hopefully. It depends on the COVID situation of what we all can do, right? But it would be fabulous to meet you and Shannon once and for all, like here, finally. But this I want to just jump into this with I.M.L.A. This is a huge Nancy, you do video, right? And when you see this amount of work,
I mean, hours, dedication, hours, talent. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I mean, how much champagne did you have to make this all come together? It's like you have a village.
Magnum after magnum, my friend. Yes.
Yes, I can believe that.
Yeah, this is huge. So you can watch it. It's graphic, so it's like a comic book, and it's an empowering. Well, I think comic books have always had that symbol of empowerment, but you're watching it with music, and it's like the voiceover. When did you start this, and why?
Oh, wow. About 2 years ago, I was staring at the LA skyline and getting kind of choked up about how much I love the city. And I was thinking, I got to write you a love song. And then I started thinking about all the feelings I have for Los Angeles, and they are so complex. So I have a lot of frustration with Los Angeles. I am deeply in love with Los Angeles. There's this and it's just not one song could ever encapsulate it. And I thought, oh, it's more like a story. I mean, Los Angeles is the place of storytelling. And of course, I couldn't write it a love song without, making up some tall tale of a hero's journey. And what would that be? And then at the same time, I was feeling this kind of brokenheartedness, just knowing I'm from the LGBTQ community. And at that time, a lot of things were happening in the news that were deeply upsetting my community, and especially the ones that are a little trembly, which are our youth. We're being very frightened about the potential of perhaps there being either they are so demoralized from the negative attributions to them that they want to commit suicide, or they are being attacked and killed. So these two things were a confluence coming together of how do I talk about Los Angeles, and how do I also talk about something that's happening, kind of like this undercurrent that was ripping me apart, to watch like the bathroom bill and all these things that made people feel they wanted to die. Yeah, I mean, there were like 4 times the suicide hotline for the LGBTQ community quadrupled in the last 4 years.
Wow.
And those are mostly young people that want to off themselves, and often do. And so that is why. And it was about 2 years ago, I ran away from the project. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so daunting, because I kept having these visions of it finished. And I thought, how do I get there from here? So, and so it's basically a 2-year sitting down and like formulaically setting out what each step would be, and what, all the funds I would need to do that, and all the people I would need. And then just, you take it one step at a time.
It's a really big project, and I think Nancy and I, we know from what we do on our side, it's very hard to touch these issues, because you're going to get it. And we've gotten, I got taken down off the Facebook. I still don't know why, because I really didn't do anything, anti-thing.
Well, screw Facebook.
Yeah. but we stand up for things like, with the Dakota Access Pipeline and stuff like that. And you get a lot of people cheering you on, and then here comes, Nancy, how many we've had over the years, right? Go ahead, Nancy.
Well, one of the things that comes out to me is I know what my parents were. Not only they were homophobic, they were racist, they were everything that I don't want anything to do with. And my grandmother used to say, just be the opposite. So I thank her for that advice. But what I know now, is being older and been around the block a few times now, we are operating off of other people's insecurities.
Yep.
So when somebody's afraid of someone who's different from them, it's their insecurity, not the other person's. And so sometimes all the education seems to be like, okay, if you're from this community or that community, don't be insecure. And it's not them, it's the others. They're working with the wrong people.
Right.
The people who are racist and the people who are homophobic are the people who need the help. It sounds
weird. Just like
the
bullies.
Both sides
just like the bullies.
Yes.
The bullies need the help.
And that's what a bully is, always insecure, and they are in a sense bullies, but they actually are bullies. And sometimes I look at, no, I'm not supposed to say this. I look at our elected community and think, okay, you're rich bullies. That's all you are.
That's right.
And so we need to start looking at the age of the people, where they come from, how they get so rich, by the way, and have a look at what they're really trying or say they stand for. And go look at their voting record, and boy, will you find a difference. Sorry.
Right.
You would, Nancy. Profound. I love that.
Profound.
Love that.
So helpful.
Did you ever know a woman named Irene Soderbergh?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, she was really enriched in the LGBT, all that in West Hollywood. And she recently passed away, but she did a lot of stuff for many years.
All the way up to the Bay Area. Yeah, and none of us are getting the LGBTQ. I get it all twirled around.
I know.
Right, me neither.
I know. So, May, we all have to have lessons on learning to, say these things properly. And because there's LGBTQIA, we got to, there's this, I eventually hope that we don't need to have the labels at some point, May, or do you want them there? What would you prefer? Yeah, human beings.
Exactly.
I know so it's not about what color or race or,
what
it's and because
color,
it's love
what
preference.
religion,
It's a love preference, right? It's like everybody goes into the sex part, and it's like this is about love and who you're attracted to, and it doesn't matter which way and how you want to dress. And to me, listen, RuPaul's drag queens, go for it, girls. It's like we need
but none of this should have anything to do with anything. We're people. We're all God's children, for God's sake.
Oh, yes. Perfectly said. That's it.
But putting this together, I think the way you've done it and it being a graphic novel and even the music, I think it's very much geared towards a young adult will be able to grasp into this. And is that something you did this for?
Yes, I did that on purpose so that in case, because I think so many young people don't see themselves portrayed much. It's better now, a little more roles in television and film that allow them to be actually normal people, not like the antagonist or the weirdo, like they're actually just human beings, like you were just saying. But I wanted young people to see themselves portrayed, and I wanted women of color to see themselves portrayed, and women to see themselves portrayed as Joseph Campbell has a hero's journey. You have the whole arc of the reluctant to leave home, and then you're given a quest, and you slay the dragon, you go against all your fears, and you come out this evolved. You're transformed from lead into gold. But it's rarely a female that is the hero's journey. So this was like,
you always have to go in the forest. You have to go in the forest.
Well, it's always the female. The female is the strongest. Why do you think us guys marry a strong woman like our mothers? The woman is the strongest point of the household. The woman rules. So, and that's why I love it.
women. You remember that when we call you and say, "Hey, remember that."
Well, I understand that. I've already had conversations with you and Nancy about that.
I think it's wonderful because your characters are women. You've got listen, you've got tarot readers in there. Listen, this is important. We have a hot mama babushka that pops in once in a while and tells people their fortunes, so I'm just saying it could happen. I don't know.
It could happen at any moment. I heard you call. I tell you what you want.
I think she may tell us our fortune. It's like the beginning of the year. You never know what we want.
Batten down the hatches.
I'll read your fortune. You bet.
Oh,
no problem.
I tell your fortune. You ask a question. No chance.
Babushka.
I had so many wonderful people to read with me. Like, they had such great personalities. Cabrina did the character you're referring to, and I don't know. Have you seen the show Stumptown on ABC? Did you ever watch that?
No,
One
unfortunately
of the characters from the show is the lead, Fiona Renee. She plays Shilene, who is the hero.
Yeah.
So
And Shilene also goes through. Okay, I just want to back up here on our conversation because to get into the story of it and not give it away because it's really an immersive experience. And it's these young girls go from the Delta, like we're in the South, and there's like Boone. And there's the bully, and you know, so they go from that to L.A. and here they are, women, and you think about music and what L.A. Here's the glitter stars, and you know, and then you end up in trouble, and so many. I know people personally who went there, did that, and ended up in the alleyways and the street boys and girls, and people don't understand why there's sex workers and how and what and where. And we do need to stand up for legislation for them to have health care and everything, because you've got to remember, why is this happening? How did they end up in the streets? And I think that's a huge part. And drugs do come into all of it. Human trafficking gets involved in this, not necessarily in the but in all of this is serious stuff. What you're talking about in your story, but you do it in such a I'm so glad you're approaching the young because they do run away, and now LA is like LA's in trouble, man. From what I'm hearing, I haven't been there for a while, but it sounds like tent city and runaways and all kinds of stuff going on there.
Yes, exactly true. Yeah. I just thank you. It's so refreshing to talk with you. My goodness, that's what a delight. Thank you so much for being so compassionate and open-hearted. Just love you guys very much.
Well, we love you too. And I mean, that's why you always come on our show. We're like, she's always doing something crazy cool. But this is important for the youth to get that. Do you think, with all your experience in video editing, right? And Nancy edits everything I do. She'd love to edit everything on the podcast. It would just take too long. She'd edit a lot out. But when you're doing as an editor and you put these things together, do you think like this is kind of the medium, like the storytelling that even schools should start embracing?
Oh, absolutely. You said something. Yes, you said something that this education and entertainment opens up the portals to education. I was over here shooting off fireworks. I was like, yes, preach it. Yes, please. So I agree. I think so.
Wow.
I agree also.
Yeah, I think that in the classroom, there's maybe more education needed on the teacher's side before they can address some of the problems they come into contact with each student. Of course, right now with COVID, I don't know who's open, who's closed, keeps changing. But I know that some teachers and counselors make really clumsy attempts to help because there's maybe a lack of training on what's really going on in different households, and what they perceive to be a problem is a normal path for a child growing up in the way that nature produced them, and not, I don't know, what I've seen growing up. I grew up in East LA and Hollywood, and what I saw in school and what I saw from my own parents, I'm like, man, come on, people, there's got to be a different way. You go and pick a dog of any size and color that you want, and you're happy with it, but then it comes over here to humans, and now it's, this can't be that, and that can't be that.
Right.
Like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's true. Yeah, it's true. It is odd what we do to each other. And so I'm just coming.
And it shouldn't be that way.
Well, no, of course not. But why? Why?
We're all God's children, whether you believe in God or not.
But
we're all God's children with whatever beliefs that we have. That's why we were put here, to enjoy life.
We all
and each other.
And we're also I think when Oprah talked about, we all have a reason to be here. And
exactly.
I think it's really true.
You hit that right on the head, Lisa. That's good.
It's really true, and sometimes you don't feel that way. If you're feeling beaten down or bullied, and I think as women are always bullied. Like there's always been that kind of culture. And then if you are,
and I feel more warmness to you ladies, of course.
Well,
because I've seen that.
I'm just messing with you, but I think
but I've seen how men have been with women. It's like, oh my God.
But there's good men out there too,
they're even
right?
stronger than us. They're our mentors.
But men are also good, right? Men are also good, and It's just I'm talking about the bully because there's women bullies too, which is unfortunate.
Big time.
Right.
And that
Big time.
really pisses me off. I'm like, listen, man, you're part of our tribe. You shouldn't be, doing that. But they do.
Right.
But that means that they're in pain. And remember, bullying is someone in pain
Well,
and not knowing. So this whole culture, we've come a long way from everybody being raped every day in the 1200s. So we've come a long way. And I want to say, though, I think being gay was more prolific back then. What happened? Who the Puritans? I don't know who did what, but
conservative Christianity.
Yeah. We're going to get into all that. Here we go. But it's about finding your true voice and who you are. And I think what's important about what you've done, May, is like even the tarot cards, right? I think readings, tarot card readings, all of that, and angel cards. It's fun. It's part of actually just tapping in, right? And actually a level of meditation in a way. But I think a lot of people run to that. Remember the movie Reality Bites with Ethan Hawke and what's her name? The little dark-haired girl. Oh my gosh, I can't. Man, she was like in the Heathers and everything. Man, on all the '80s movies.
Winona Ryder.
Yes,
right?
Winona Ryder. Right?
Yes, Winona.
She starts calling up the what was it, the psychic line or whatever, or astrology line, and she raised up this huge phone bill. But I think when people are at their down part, they can go to that as this thing of like help. And I think that's also an interesting that you brought in, like that part of it, because people get to that level of, what can I do? They're grasping at straws. Do I go to religion? Do I go to the tarot? Do I go to this? Where do you go with all of that? And do you set your intention yourself, or do you let a tarot card that you may have just picked up one the wrong way? So where do we go with that? That's an interesting
I think
thing.
Well, you go with your heart, I think. Not to interrupt you, May. But for me, I go with my heart and the belief up above. That's what I do.
Exactly. That's
and
it. I
whatever
think the heart is the higher
comes
self.
down to me, then that's what I do.
That's exactly it. Yep.
I go run in the forest.
But I do apologize for interrupting you, May.
Oh, no worries, no problem. I definitely think it's the higher self that the tarot speaks through, and it doesn't have to be the tarot. It could be you're in the forest, as you have said, and you see a beautiful hawk or an owl, and that could be your tarot card, giving you insight or wisdom. Hawk means vigilance, owl means wisdom. So it's just looking for the signs around you and trying to release the trauma. You spoke about bullies, and it's a cyclical, generational trauma that is, without reflection and without doing the hard work of getting that apology or doing that apologizing, without healing your wounds generationally within your community, that trauma is always going to hang over like this dark force of negativity. And we'll never be satisfied with one another until we heal these wounds. Like you cut your hand and you spill vinegar on it. Why does it hurt so much than the hand that doesn't have a wound, right? So if I don't have any wounds, I'm not going to be so hypersensitive to every single thing around me. So I think that it's just the soul searching, it's the reflection, and the tarot cards are just they're a device or a vehicle of storytelling to advance you from one point to another quickly.
But you have
the heavy lifting.
Yeah, you go to, where do I need to go? I need something. It's like not a portal. I'm stuck in that word now, but it's like it's a vehicle, like you're saying. One thing, one of my favorite songs on your album that goes with I.M.L.A. is Stargazer, and you talk about that. And do you see animals in the clouds? And do you mind if we play it for everybody to hear?
I'd be so honored. Thank you so much.
Take a listen to this, everyone. Here's Stargazer. Again, go to Mae-Edwards.com, and it's not Mae West, but she could be Mae West if she wants to.
Oh, yes, it is.
Well, is she taking off now? Do we get to say goodbye to her?
No. We're playing a song. We're playing Stargazer.
Okay, and then she'll come back. Okay, cool.
Yes, it's all good. So
Thank
here
you.
it is. Stargazer.
I know. I'm sorry. I know. I don't want her to leave yet.
No, she's not leaving yet. We won't let her.
Okay.
Here it is. Stargazer.
Do you still trust like a child?
You're listening to Big Blend Radio, and you just heard Stargazer, and that is spelled Star Gayzer, because when you go and check it out, it's all part of that. I just got to bring that up. Everybody, it's written by Mae-Edwards and an amazing collective of musicians and voiceover artists and creatives. Everybody that got together and did the art, everything. You've got like a creative family, man. You got a village, Mae.
Yeah, I do. I'm so fortunate to know so many fantastically talented people.
I love that. I love that you are able to do that, because I think that's often a hard time to sometimes collaborate when it's creative, right? It's hard. Yeah, it is hard.
Yeah, I think it was more like I was a director, though. So I had a vision, so they all kind of just were nice to me about that.
That was a beautiful song. Kudos, Mae.
Thank you.
Kudos.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me your time.
Loved it.
The words and that one guitar part are just like, I love that. My favorites, and the other one of my favorites on the album is I wanted to play it, and we can't play all of them because everyone needs to go buy the album. Boyle Heights Blues. I love that. Tell everybody about that song. I love that song.
Oh, I feel like California belonged to a people before us, so that is my honoring of their shaky resonance still here. The Mexican people, and they're also Central American people predominating this area of the eastern Los Angeles. But it was all the things that community suffers, and all the prejudice and all the pride they have. It just I don't know. I want to tell you, it's devastatingly beautiful.
Isn't that amazing, though, too, how they can get through that?
Yes, every day.
How they're able to get through that.
It's their land, really. Yes.
Yeah.
Resilience. There's a resilience, I think, that
because
people
they're closer connected to the ground.
Yes.
Oh, and they have a village.
That's it.
When we lived in Mexico we lived there about 6-8 months. And that was a journey. We lived in Kenya, we lived in South Africa, we lived in England, and we lived in different places to actually not just read about a culture, but to get immersed in it and try to figure out, why are people so different, and where does this love and hate come from? I love it. So I can only come up with the word insecurity. In Mexico, we had no problems getting along. I mean, it's a difficult country to live there forever when you're not from there because of different laws running a business, especially media. It's not that easy in other countries. But was there anything, Lisa, about Mexico that you didn't love?
Oh, I was at home. I was more at home there. When we left South Africa and came to America, I went to a culture shock.
Yeah.
I mean, even going to a grocery store, there was just too much stuff on the shelves that I didn't understand. Why do we need super centers? Why do we need, I just want a stick of butter, Why do we have to have 20 of them? And then when we went to Mexico, I became a human being again. I was suddenly free. I remember just literally driving down, to Ensenada, on that beautiful. It's one of the most scenic highways in the world. That road from Tijuana down, and just feeling free because the people are real and straight up, and it's just about living. And I love that they just, hey, I'm selling this. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. And I think, and speaking of the gay community there. We went to a Baja Food and Wine Festival many years ago, and we just fell into the laps of this beautiful gay community that took us around and gave us mezcal and took us to flower shops. And they
Are
were
you
just
kidding me? That is amazing.
No, it's real. Remember that night, and we had ended up back on the bus going over the border, and we were pretty hammered. We were hammered. So we were happy. We had so much fun. They just, I don't know what happened, but we just ended up in the land of lovely. And everyone, there was just this, and I don't know, I know when we were there that there was some prejudice, but there were clubs, the Mariposa Club, in Ensenada. And it was known as that's your drag gay club. Everything goes on there, and the most fun, So it was a little bit more open than in this country. South Africa was brutal.
Can I just say Mariposa means
butterfly?
Butterfly. For those who don't know.
Yeah, butterfly.
So beautiful.
And so South Africa, a lot of my friends were gay, and I didn't even quite know, and I didn't understand yet, just growing up. And they were in trouble, and so even, had to lie to everybody at that point, and it was pretty brutal. But now, I see, friends that I grew up with in this immersive culture of all colors, and all, love beings. And I'm like, okay, things are working over there a little bit better in some places not, still, depending on where you are in the country. But I just think, it's really harder. I think gay men have a hard time. If you're transsexual, now you're having a harder time because people don't understand. So I think it's important that we do talk about it. We have to have a conversation. It's I
agree.
I may not say that
my closer friends were gay people because they were honest. They had nothing to hide.
No. Well,
they were the most honest people I knew. because they have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
And that's how we all should be.
That's actually, you're right about that, actually, yeah, when you think deep about that. So I don't know.
It.
Man, so.
But much respect for gay people, straight people, you know, as long as we do good, we do well.
Mm-hmm.
Come
Agreed.
on.
Yes, right.
Let's pass
May
it
I ask
around,
a question?
for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
Who cares? We're all God's
May.
children.
Go ahead, May.
Sorry,
about this is your 14th anniversary, and I wanted to know what was your creative spark to get you started?
So we started the magazine. So Nancy had a magazine in South Africa, and started in Port Elizabeth. So I started working for her. I tried to go to journalism school, and Rhodes University wouldn't. You know, I was American, and I'd have to speak Dutch, Afrikaans, and do all that stuff. And I was like, hell no, Nancy needs help. So I went to work for her, and we had to leave South Africa with the political unrest. And Winnie Mandela took over broadcasting. Attempted to. And so Nancy was like the last independent woman. We burned everything. We burned everything.
Wow.
And
wow.
And Nelson Mandela is different than Winnie Mandela.
I didn't want her name on anything I do.
Winnie Mandela necklaced women and children and
evil.
men.
Pure
put
evil.
tires around her neck, pour gasoline, and set them on fire if you didn't do what she did. And Winnie Mandela is not nice. Not nice.
Wow.
And he divorced her for reasons, right? So hell broke loose, and it was time, being American, we came back over here and swore we'd never do a magazine. And no matter what, like, you know, when you're supposed to do something, you do. And so when we were in California, we opened up the Blend magazine. We were actually Free Spirit at one point, a different company name, all kinds of things. But we started in '97, and we were print covering North San Diego, and went to Southwestern because we started. Our clients wanted us to go to Arizona. We're like, okay, and then like okay, and we ended up living in the desert after going through many wildfires, and we lived in Joshua Tree. And Nancy said we were Southwest Blend for a couple years, and our website was over 1 million unique visitors a month, and Nancy, for a year, over a year. And Nancy said, "That's it. We're pulling the plug on the print," and I cried like a baby. And so we went online, and she was interviewed on Blog Talk Radio, the platform we're on, for her work with Joy Adamson and Elsa the Lion and all that stuff. That's what Joy said. Nancy wasn't there at that. And she was interviewed, and we were going around interviewing people, recording-wise, and we were like, oh, my God, we can interview anyone across the country and around the world through this platform. So that's what started. Very
so
first show.
Perfect.
Yeah, because we could do it. And we interviewed, I mean, we've interviewed like Chef John Besh. We've interviewed Lucas Nelson, The Promise of the Real. We've interviewed so many people of all calibers and spaces. And Nancy, remember? Yeehaw!
But I know we were told so many times that you can't be a blend. You have to target your market. It has to be a targeted publication, a targeted radio show. And I always thought about Seinfeld, where he said they're going to have a show about nothing. And we're like, well, we're going to have a show about everything.
Oh, I love it.
There you go.
You know,
cool.
And that's what we've done. And people still are like, oh no, man, you got to be targeted. And I'm like, oh no, you got a search box on your computer, use it. You know, really, you can have a publication about everything,
right?
Because we're interested in everything, because everything's connected. So really, you know, we have a show about one thing, everything connected. That's how my
Blend will never go away. Blend will never go away.
And
never.
All honest. Everything honest.
Whether people like it or not. People know to turn off if they don't like it. They let us know too. We've been in trouble for saying things about
well, there's always people. Everybody's
you got to be in trouble. If you're doing anything meaningful, you have to
if you get in trouble, you're doing it right.
You know, I want to go back to May, the one time, it was I think it was your second time on our show, or the first. We were doing a show in Yosemite. Do you remember? And Nancy was outside We had phone cords going outside. Now we're on headsets, but it depends on where we are. And she was sitting outside, and you called in, and I was on the inside because of everything that needs to happen to make it work. And there were Canadian geese going over, and she was looking out over Pinecrest Lake. Do you remember that? That was like the most magic thing. We've never been able to recreate that. And that was like when you were on the show. I thought that was cool. Like you can't beat that for Champaign.
So I just got, no pun intended, but I just got goosebumps because I was jogging around a lake yesterday and all these geese kept flying over me.
Oh, cool.
This was just yesterday.
Cool.
And it was like pair by pair. 2 geese would fly kind of low and a little bit like, please don't do anything, just fly. But then another pair and then another pair. And it was like maybe like 8 different pairs of geese as I jogged around this lake. And now you talk about this and it's like, and so it's goosebumps, right? Appropriately.
Oh, you got to look at the geese totem, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I have. It's quite nice.
Mama Goose May.
It is I. I have the golden egg for you.
Ooh. What's in that golden egg? Do you crack open the golden egg, or would that be a no-no?
Well, you can have the golden egg. You just can't kill the golden goose, right? Let's see.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like this. So are you enjoying Sacramento?
You know, Sacramento is it has so much nature. It is like it's almost like the city got plopped down in a forest. There's so many mature trees here. I mean, I'd say most of the trees here are in the 70 to 100-year-old range, and so you know how they have so much presence and wisdom. So that's surrounding you, and of course they're giving off that beauty. And just this morning, over the American River, it was so foggy and beautiful. So, have you been to Sacramento?
Yes, on our way we've been, through going to Oregon is normally when we've gone through Sacramento. But your area is interesting to me because you have a delta as your backyard.
Yes.
And so you have the forest and then the delta, like Stockton. Like I know people give Stockton a hard time, but we went on a riverboat in Stockton, and I'm all about rivers and deltas because it's awesome. And there is a mist that comes in and a fog that comes in over the delta, like in Mississippi. It's kind of part of what I love about your I.M.L.A. is this Mississippi thing because it's just gone through it, and we have I don't know. I love Mississippi, but there it is a delta region of California that people forget about, and it's connected to Central California, and it is connected up to the Sequoias and everything. It's like the bottom part of the Sierra Nevada mountains. And the Sierra Nevadas are like this pristine, magical. I know you know, like we're all in that same trippy land of the mountain spirits, but you don't have the mountain spirits without the Delta. And the Delta has this mystique. It's like the South to me. And when I've discovered that in your area, not much like digging into the town or anything, but there's all these little refuge areas that you can go to that are just really off in like weird boony land. And you go off, and it is like being in the Delta. And there's a mystical spirit to me of the South and the Delta, and that it's like a whisper through the reeds of like, I don't know, man, ancestors, and I don't know, man, but it has that same quality that I dig. It's like it's cool. That's cool about your area.
May, when you see something beautiful like what we're talking about, do you hear the music? Or do you think I should write music about this, and how can I recreate it musically? Or do you actually, I took this course once where they said assign colors to each note in the octave. And as a painter, I thought, that's interesting because, if I play a song and I paint according to the song, it wouldn't be maybe what I would normally paint, So I was thinking, well, that's interesting. But when you go to compose something, is it after the fact that you've seen it, or during or while you see it that you suddenly hear a melody, or how does that work for you?
Each song is like a person, and so sometimes I will hear the whole song completed.
Oh, wow.
Harmonies, chord progression, lyrics, done.
Really?
And then others are like, wait, I need to know you a little better. Who are you again? Tell me. And so it also has to do with my internal, like if something has broken my heart or something is such an elation for me and I need to express it, I go into that emotion. So each song has its own personality. Oftentimes, the ones that really, like Stargazer, that is definitely, I heard that already done in my head.
Wow.
The guitarist, her name is Lily Mace, and the bassist is Tasia Veal. They are extraordinary, and our mixing engineer, John O'Hara, they're just brilliant people, so I was so lucky to work with them. But when Lily added that slide guitar at the end of Stargazer,
love it.
She didn't know, but I had heard that.
Wow.
She also added another like really hard rock solo to the end, but I had that removed because I just heard the crying. It was like the crying of, please don't throw your power away, was what my beseeching was. And so her guitar was so to answer you, it really depends on the song. And the really special ones to me they come to me composed, and I have to go back and reconstruct what I'm sensing, what I'm hearing.
So what happens when if you have an agent, or because I'm just going back to my painting career and stuff, where people said you had to have a style. So if you did something that was obviously different than your style, they would say, no, you shouldn't do that. It's not good for your career. What happens for you then?
Oh, but I mean, let's look at the greatest artist of all, right? I mean, at least commercially, in our psyche and our common knowledge, is Picasso. So Picasso started out doing a hyper photorealism when he was in his like pre-teens, and then he's already gone beyond the photographs because he can draw anything more beautifully than a photograph can capture it. And then he started doing, how many things did he do? I mean, besides Cubist, which he's so famous for, but he did pottery, he did furniture, he destroyed it for all artists, like, oh, leave something for us to discover. So I think because he was sort of like the person who would reinvent himself with each incarnation of his career, he was doing something different. And to me, that's why I feel like what you're doing, Big Blend, you're doing everything. Well, that is life, right? You are going on a journey through life, tasting all the delicious fruit, not just one kind of fruit. You're doing all of it. And so I think with art, for me, I would go the way Picasso has shown us to go, which is do it all. Do everything that your soul inspires you. And who cares if people, thank you. Who cares if people think this or that? Let them have their thoughts. That's their right. It's none of my business what you think of me. But I owe it to myself
to live your
honor live your truth. Exactly.
So you live your truth, and the others can have their journey till they live their truth.
And also everything we're talking about today about understanding each other, everybody's understanding comes at a different time. Because it's like as a kid, your parent says, don't put your hand on the stove. Well, you put your hand on the stove, it burns because you don't, and later you learn. Everybody has a different time to learn different things. It's not just the hand on the stove. It is different things. Some experience will change them, so it's, I think that's the other part we all have to understand and learn from is, everything we're talking about, we just really need to be kind to each other until we can understand more. And I have a friend, Stephanie, hello, Cornhole, Stephanie, that sounds terrible. I shouldn't say that. That sounded really bad.
Real good.
No, because we didn't know about cornhole. She had to teach us about cornhole. And we Kentucky, and some guys, people ask about cornhole. Because we're like, what do you mean you say cornhole? Like,
funny.
what's that about? And so we always got the giggles on this show with her. And then one time, like she said to her, like, how did they get the giggles of cornhole? She said, they're from California.
It's like Fogan thank us for that nickname.
So anyway, her parents are different. Her mom is Japanese Buddhist. Her dad is the Baptist, the white American Baptist, and that's her how she was raised. And I said, well, what do you learn from that? I mean, that's like she says, all I learned from the two of them at the end of the day, they managed to coexist with these different belief systems. Here it is. The lesson is be kind. And I was like, you know what? That's really it at the end of the day. Just be kind.
It is.
Have your different beliefs.
I love it.
Be kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
it's
cool.
actually simple, but people won't adjust to it.
Doesn't it feel
will.
good to be kind? I mean, to me, it just like, that's just
it's so much
yummy
easier
both ways.
to live life being kind.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Speaking of that,
instead of having, a thorn on your shoulder or whatever.
Yeah, this is it. Mae has always been very cool over the years. She goes through this, hey, everybody, I'm going to donate money to different charities. What's your favorite? And you've done a few of our favorites, and I want to say thank you for that, like National Parks Conservation Association and Born Free, all kinds of, you've done so much on that level, and like, hey, if I'm doing something, I'm going to give back. And with I.M.L.A., you are also donating some of the proceeds, I believe, right, to the Trevor Project.
The Trevor Project, 75% of all money that comes in goes right to them. So it's been very fulfilling to send those payments. So yeah, I'm honored.
That's wonderful.
And so this is also a Screen Actors Guild project. Tell us about that. What does that mean for everyone to understand a little bit more?
Well, right. It's the union that protects the actors, and so in order for me to secure our lead, Fiona Renee, she is a Screen Actors Guild actor, and so she said you have to make this a project. You have to make this project a Screen Actors Guild project in order for her to work on it. And so Shannon wrote the contracts that they accepted, and so what happens is I have to pay them of course their rate, which is wonderful for me, and also like a little bit into their pension and a little bit into their health plan.
Yeah.
So that's important.
So
that's good.
That's
really great.
That's important. I wanted to bring that up.
I love those unions. I'm a member of Equity.
What is that?
For the Broadway stage.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to hear all about this.
I know it's a new. But I think these are all these important tools. But Mae, we got to get running because we got to play Steve's Hollywood History and got some more music and more music from you to play. I want to play Pride because I think that is really important. We have Pride Day, Pride Month, but Pride is really part of dignity, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Well, of course, for anyone.
Yeah.
You betcha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The antithesis of shame, which is like most gay people do carry shame for not pleasing their community with their presence.
And the only reason why they're carrying shame because nobody accepts, and that's sad.
But it's not no one. I don't want to say that because there
no,
are
that's just my version. You know what I mean. But,
I know. I think that we've got to also.
I mean, in general, that general public out there that should learn don't know.
Or
they choose not to. But
I just want it. I want it to be that people understand.
Of course.
That there are people out there. So like you can jump to the other side of the train, and there's still us in the community that will welcome you. You know. So
well, I want to tell you, I am so glad that I became involved in show business to learn all of this.
Yes.
And to be open to everyone and everything. So I'm proud of my endeavors so far. So.
That's good. That's good.
As am I. Yes.
Yes.
Right on. Right on.
And that's why I respect you, Miss Mae. And you're going to be Miss Mae to me. Yeah.
Miss Mae. Miss Mae West.
Thank
Miss
you,
Mae.
kind sir. Oh, I love you. Thank you.
Mae, what is your champagne toast?
My champagne toast to peace and to healing, to love and to light.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us again. It's been a pleasure. It can't be this many
such
years.
An honor.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
We'll
see each other soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, it's an honor to be on the same sound waves as you, Mae. Thank you so much.
Oh, my goodness. Same to you, my friend.
Thank you.
So much love.
Nancy's juggling dogs in there. I can hear it. I can hear the dogs.
Her callers.
It sounds like she's typing something when she's in there, but she's not. She's got collies in the room.
He's an
They're
old
beautiful.
baby, and he wants to climb in my lap suddenly.
Oh,
So I'm having
come
a.
over here. Come
I
here.
know.
He's
He's
so sweet.
beautiful.
The sweetest dog.
Sweet babies.
They're the
Yeah,
sweetest
Winston
dog.
just wants. He's
Oh,
he is what
He's
he's
been
a beautiful
spoiled.
boy.
We've been
He's
spoiled
a
with such
beautiful
dog
boy.
love. They really are.
what's his
They
name?
are. Winston.
Winston.
He's a beautiful collie.
Oh,
good
he's
And then
really
you've
name.
got
beautiful.
Mia. And now that I said that,
Oh.
little Gus has just woken up. So now we're
Yeah,
going to have a
she's
bark.
just
Little
jealous.
Gussie, Goosey Goose. Little Gus Poodle.
Oh.
Here it is. Listen, I know that everyone will go like, oh, you're running a podcast and you have dogs running around everywhere you go. Yeah, that's it. Because they're part of the
bring it.
community too. Thank you very much. So there it is. But here we're going to play. We're going to play Pride now from Mae's wonderful music graphic novel. Go to I.M.L.A. is what it is. You can find it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. But if you go right to her website, you'll be able to get the music and get all the portals to it. Portal, my word of the day. Champagne and
beautiful
portal.
word.
Mae-Edwards.com is a website. So thank you so much, Mae. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you. Happy 14th.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love
and listen,
Love you, Mae.
Hey, we love you
Truly.
too, and give our love to Shannon too, okay?
Okay, you got it.
Here it is.
You take
Thanks.
care.
All right.
There it is, everyone. Pride.
Sweet.
Everyone, again, that was Mae-Edwards and Pride. Go to her website, Mae-Edwards.com. Also, keep up with Melanie at MelanieShardoff.com. I want to thank you all for joining us for our special 14-year anniversary. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone. We're going to close with Steve's Hollywood History segment on the Lawrence Welk show that he did many years ago on one of our anniversary shows. And also, we're going to play Pour the Champagne from Jan Close, John Close.
Cool.
Everyone says a different way of pronouncing it. It's Jannkloose from his album In Tandem, which is kind of interesting how that word got in there too. So thank you all for joining us. We'll be back on Monday. We're going to be doing a interview. Oh, this is going to be such a great segment on the independent film Gun and a Hotel Bible. Hey, you know, Rocky Raccoon went to his room. Oh, went to find Gideon's Bible. I know, and it is all comes from that.
One of Nancy's favorite characters.
Hey, listen, we have Raja Gosnell joining us from home. He's the director, Raja Gosnell from Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire, Scooby-Doo, Never Been Kissed. Director Alicia Joy LeBlanc joining us from The Convergence Mission. And stars Bradley Gosnell from The Smurfs and Daniel Florin from The Influencers joining us. So that is tomorrow on January 4th at bigblendradio.com. Thank you all. And here it is. We got to close out. We're running out of time. We got to go, dude. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Love you.
Take care.
Bye.
Love you, too. Here it is.
Picture this, a show that would often open by showing bubbles floating around and was accompanied by the sound of a bottle of champagne opening, followed by a soft hissing sound of the champagne bubbles, including the opening theme, Bubbles in the Wine. Bum 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 bum. The Lawrence Welk Show. In 1951, the Lawrence Welk Show began as a local program on KTLA TV in Los Angeles, flagship station of the Paramount Television Network. The show made its national TV debut on ABC television on 2 July 1955. Known for his catchphrases, a wanna, a tua, and a wonderful, each week in his distinctive German accent, Lawrence Welk would introduce the theme of the show, which usually inspired joyous singing and or patriotic fervor. If a number was more of a dance tune, Welk would frequently dance with ladies from the audience, for which he became somewhat known. The singers and musicians were bound by an official set of morals, artistic and personal, dictated by the master himself. And if he believed the audience did not find them wholesome enough, they would be fired. My memories of watching the Lawrence Welk Show was at my grandparents' home. I remember taking piano lessons in the mid-'60s and became quite proficient early on at playing. Joanne Castle, who was the honky-tonk pianist, was performing that evening. My grandmother said, "If you keep practicing and playing as you do, you can be on the Lawrence Welk Show." I giggled and I laughed because I enjoyed playing baseball more than practicing the piano. However, she was not too far off with her words, as in the summer of 1972, I was performing in a tour group throughout California, in which we were the opening act for Bobby Burgess and Sissy King and country singer Lynn Anderson. All three were regulars on the Lawrence Welk Show. Favorites of mine as a kid on the program were the Lennon sisters, dubbed America's Singing Sweethearts, Diane, Peggy, Kathy, and Janet. They were cute. They would sing songs such as, "Oh, would you like to swing on a star? Carry moonbeams home in a jar. Harbor Lights, high on a hill is a lonely goat herd. Lady-o-da, lady-o-da-lady-hoo. Near you always, and a wanna, and a tua. Tiptoe through the window, by the window, that is where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips, with me. Throughout the years, Tiptoe Through the Tulips turned out to be a popular song sung by many on the show: Jack, Sandy, Gail, and Mary Lou. Another individual who popularized the song, however, who was not a member of Welk's wholesome family, was Tiny Tim and his ukulele. Tiptoe through the tulips with me. I know, bad impersonation. Other favorites were Champagne Lady Norma Zimmer, accordionist assistant conductor Myron Florin, Bobby and Sissy, honky-tonk pianist Joanne Castle, roll out the barrels, it's gonna be a barrel of fun, and Tanya Welk, Welk's daughter-in-law. Tanya and I became acquaintances when I lived in Southern California. She was truly charming and talented. The Lawrence Welk Show ran from 1955 to 1971 on ABC, and the syndicated version of the program aired from 1971 to 1982. Reruns of the program continue to air on PBS. Good night, until we meet again. Adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. Till then, I am Steve Schneikert, and this is Hollywood history as I recall it.
I hear you talk about the future and how it's supposed to be. I watch you paint a picture. What will be, will be. You worry about tomorrow. You're lost in yesterday. Can we keep it in the moment? We only got today. We got here, we got now. If you want me to stay, don't save it for a rainy day. Let's break out the crystal and pour the champagne. Pour the champagne. Making funny faces. I do what you do. Imaginary places, I visit them with you. Yeah. Don't ever fight a feeling, it's just a part of you. I found your heart up on your sleeve and changed my point of view.